those who claim a doctrine of conscious post-mortem survival. In other words, sounds like a doctor, doesn't it? These are translation things. In other words, that probably that there's some kind of soul that is conscious, you know, inherently existent, that, you know, exists after death. Those who proclaim a doctrine of unconscious post-mortem survival. Okay. Those who proclaim a doctrine of neither conscious nor unconscious post-mortem survival. Okay. Annihilationists who proclaim the annihilation, destruction, and non-existence of beings. And those who are proclaimers of nirvana, here and now. Okay. So we can see from this that just as now there is a whole range of different kinds of views that people have. Some are standardized into different theories or religions or philosophies. Some aren't. They're just ideas that, you know, float through our own mind or other people's minds. So just as this is the case now, it was certainly the case at the time of the Buddha too. You know, everybody who has a mouth speaks about a philosophy. That's what it sounds like sometimes, doesn't it? You know, even now. Okay, so then, you know, in those sutras, the Buddha went into more depths about what these specific views were, and then, of course, refuted them. Yeah, but they basically boil down to either being eternalists, thinking that there's some kind of personal, permanent soul, you know, or some kind of truly existent something, or nihilists, and there's a whole variety of nihilists too. There's not just one brand. Okay, there's many different kinds of nihilists, which we'll come to. Actually, we're coming to it right now, because in a couple of other sutras, the Buddha pinpointed 3 types of nihilistic views as being the specific ones that we don't want to get involved in because they are contrary to attaining liberation. So the first kind of view of nihilism is a view that denies any continuation of the person after death. In other words, the view that says after death there is nothing. That's what I used to believe. You know? It's like, yeah, we're just bodies, and I don't know what the mind is, and none of these religious theories make sense, so after death, you die, you're dead, there's nothing. Basta finito. That's what I thought for many years. Many people think that, you know? And especially if you think that the mind, the consciousness, is an emergent property of the body, then when the body dies, then the mind completely discontinues. You know, there's nothing left whatsoever. So that's one form of nihilism. Yeah. So in that view, then there's no future lives. So, you know, no future lives, no karma, no liberation, nothing, because it all just totally 100% ceases at the time of death. Then the second one is a nihilistic view about the existence of constructive and destructive actions. Okay, so this is somebody who may say that there's no ethical distinctions between actions. You know, the view that we're like, oh, there's no good, there's no bad, it just all is relative, up to your mind, this or that. You know, you can, yeah, this kind of a flippant view. It can also be like a fatalistic or a predetermination view that, you know, we're fated, we're predetermined, there's already a lesson plan created by a creator that we're living, everything's predetermined. And so also in that view of predetermination, there's no you know, constructive or destructive actions that can influence what we experience in the future because it's all predetermined. Okay? So that's another nihilistic view. Okay? And then the third realistic view is the view that denies that things happen due to causes. In other words, the view that just says things are random, you know, there's no causes, you know, or there may be causes, but the causes don't have to correspond to the result, you know, like you can plant peaches and get plums, and, you know, kind of there's no correspondence at all between cause and effect. So these three kinds of nihilistic views, you know, that there's either complete discontinuation of the person at death, or second, that there's no ethical dimension to our actions, there's no virtue, no non-virtue, no actions that are conducive for happiness, no actions that are conducive for suffering. Or thirdly, thinking that things happen totally without any causes whatsoever. Then these are three kinds of nihilistic views, because they're denying things that in fact do exist. And you can see that if you hold these nihilistic views, then it's very easy to live a life without any restraint, without any ethical restraint, because, hey, you know, yeah, when I die, it's all over, so might as well be as hedonistic as I want. Yeah, or, you know, there's no good or bad action, so I can do what I want because somehow, you know, or there's things happen randomly without any action, without any causes at all, so again, I can do what I want. Okay, so these kind of views, you can see, can really feed into an egotistical tendency that makes the I very big, you know. I can do what I want, I can get what I want, I, you know, and then these views really make all of that possible, so quite dangerous. So we need to look inside and see if we have any of those views, and then think, you know, if we find any of those views, and, you know, of course we'll find something, we all have some of these kinds of things, is first of all understand the disadvantages of these views. So not to say I shouldn't think that way, but first of all understand the disadvantages. And then if we see disadvantages, then to examine, you know, are these views based on any kind of reasoning or any kind of experience, you know? Is there any evidence that I can call forth, either from personal experience or from reasoning, that I can use to support these views? Or is there evidence, again, either personal experiential things or reasoning, that we can call forth that refute these kind of views? And so really examining very clearly, you know, with our intelligence, to see if these kind of views really hold water or not. Okay? To be continued.